Nothing screams normal more than the resumption of catering services on domestic flight services. After 2 months of sitting at the back of the planes checking their phones, flight crews are again peddling their selection of drinks and snacks. But there now appears to be a general reluctance for people getting back into the habit of eating on the scheduled services. Speaking to the head flight attendant on a service from Phuket to Bangkok this morning, he confirmed that people are currently reticent to get back into the habit of eating on the short flights. The Thai Civil Aviation Authority has lifted the ban on food and drink services on domestic flights again. Recently, once the safety demo was over, that's the last you'd see of the flight attendants as they head to the back of the plane. There's been nothing else for them to do because of the ban on in-flight services. Following the December outbreak of new clusters of Covid-19, the CAAT imposed the catering ban on flights again, but didn't ground the airlines for a second time. But the airlines reduced the number of flights and cancelled some routes to ride out the new surge in cases. Commercial flights were suspended first back in April 2020 due to the initial outbreak of Covid-19. The Aviation Authority then allowed domestic flights to resume on May the 1st, although airlines were barred from serving food and drinks on board flights that didn't exceed 2 hours. That's just about every flight in Thailand. But just because people can now buy a cup of noodles or orange juice again doesn't mean they will. For the past year, flights have been without any catering more often than not. And it seems flyers are now used to getting through their short flights without any snacks. I've travelled on a local carrier twice since the in-flight catering resumed last week. On one flight, the trolley returned to the galley just about the same way it left, as only 4 passengers decided to buy anything. On the second flight, not a single passenger seemed to need a top-up on the 1 hour and 10-minute flight from Phuket to Bangkok. Now, speaking to the flight attendant, off the record, he believed the lingering fears of Covid-19 are part of the reason people don't want to open their pockets or their masks and buy any food. The return to catering isn't really much of a problem for the low-cost carriers. If they sell a few sandwiches or drinks, it's a small win for the low-cost airline model. If people don't buy the food, it remains in the trolley for the next flight. But for the full-service carriers like Bangkok Airways and Thai Smile, the return to catering services on local flights means they have to, again, serve everyone the stale sandwich or muffin, whether they want it or not. For the low-cost carriers, they may be losing a small amount of additional sales on their flights. At least they're not having to serve up food to an entire plane full of passengers who have got used to surviving their short domestic flights without being fed. For now, the airlines will all be wondering if passengers will ever get back into the rhythm of eating on planes for short-haul services, or will they be happier to keep the fares low and forego some of the past niceties like the in-flight catering. In at least the short term, tray tables may just be used for people's laptops instead of trying to balance a slippery water bottle or hot cup of noodles. Tim Newton for the Thaiger.